Good afternoon. Today is Monday afternoon, September 12th, and this is the regularly scheduled Tennessee Athletic Commission meeting. My name is Roxanne Agamusio. I am the executive director with this program, and I will do a quick roll call first to get us started. We may end up having Miss Christy Halbert join us in a minute, but in the meantime, given that it's already a little bit after 2, we will get started. As I call your name, if you could please let me know you're here, and we will proceed. Mr. Ben Grove?
Here.
Matt Reddish?
Present.
Thank you. Patrick Wren?
Here.
You're good. Dan McGrew? Thank you. Hi, you're perfectly great. I'll give you a minute. And Dr. Christy Halbert, you've just joined us. Thank you. Thank you. We have everyone here. I really appreciate everybody's time to be here. First order of business is roll call, and we have not only quorum, but everyone's here with us. Notice of this board meeting or commission meeting was posted directly to the website on September the 12th. For the September the 12th meeting was posted with the date, time, and location to the website on June 16th of 2020. Additionally, this month's agenda has been posted to the website since September 8th of 2022. On your iPads and also via email, the commission has received the agenda. If there are no changes to the agenda as it's been presented, I would need a motion to accept it.
Make a motion to accept the agenda.
We have a second.
I'll second.
We have a motion by Dan McGrew and a second by Matt Reddish. All those in favor of proceeding with the agenda as posted, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. We will leave the agenda as is. On your iPads, you have all of your documents in order as the agenda has them. The next item to review is the September minutes. Those two were emailed to the commission. If there are any changes, please let me know so I can make those corrections. Otherwise, I would need a motion to accept as is.
I also make the motion.
Thank you. We have a motion by Dan McGrew and a second by Christy Halbert to accept the minutes as they are presented. All those in favor of accepting these, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Next on our agenda, we have an application for review. We have here before you an applicant for a promoter's license, Mr. Kevin Kenmore. If you give me a minute, I'll make sure that he has a chance to come to the podium. The commission reviewed this application at our last meeting and suggested that he appear before you to answer any questions that you might have. On your iPads, the application starts on page 9. Mr. Kenmore? Question just
How y'all doing?
And if before we get started, I can address the commission just as a refresher from the last meeting. This application was before you at the last meeting, and there were some concerns from legal about the application, given that Mr. Kenmore had applied for a promoter's license, and his wife was a promoter who is currently suspended regarding the nature of some lab tests that, in legal's opinion, were fraudulently presented to the commission as results for fighters for blood work. Based on that, the commission suspended Tracy Kenmore's license. She is the wife of Mr. Kenmore. After that, I noticed after he applied for the license to be a promoter on his website, he continued to allow his wife, Tracy Kenmore, to advertise herself as a promoter on his website, and he himself has advertised himself as a coach and manager. As you all know, a manager would need a license. Based on all of that, you all determined that you would like him to come before the commission at this meeting to discuss his application and decide whether to approve it or not.
Morning. Do you want to make any statement before we ask you questions?
No, well, I'm not a manager. I do train, and I'm trying to be a promoter.
I think the timing of your deciding to become a promoter is a little little bit raised a flag for us right on the heels of your wife's promoter license being suspended. Can you talk any about what prompted you to become a promoter so suddenly after that?
Well, because boxing is my life. Okay, to be honest with you, I did this all my life. I fought amateur since I was 5 years old. So I was like 17, 18. Wife was a promoter. Stuff that well, I ain't gonna say she got accused of because she had to take the rap for it because she was the promoter. But that was something that she really didn't have any knowledge of. She paid for the people, medical, and someone else did something. I guess they kept the money or whatever, and forward the stuff or whatever. But I just want to be a promoter, and promote fights. We ain't mean no harm of what had happened. We was really unaware of it until it came to our attention from y'all. We just thought everybody was sending. Yeah, she did send it in, but we didn't pay any attention to it or anything. And just want to be a promoter, promote good boxing. Be honest with you. We sorry, what went on, what happened, and she was frustrated because she did. She became a promoter because of me, to be honest with you, because I've been in the boxing all my life, and she had quit her job, got frustrated when she got, money got tight, and things like that, and basically that's what happened. I'm promote fights, got connection, Las Vegas, California, right in that about what happened, with her, with us, because we was a team. But I never was a manager of anyone. I was, to be honest, I was guiding some guys' career, taking them out to Vegas, getting them fights, help paying for their fights. And I'm still basically, guiding some guys, to be in the boxing world. They want to be in the boxing world. And I don't have any papers on them. Everything I'm doing for them, I'm doing it out the kindness of my heart, spend my own money and everything. None of them never signed a contract with me to manage them or anything, or to be their actual promoter. None of them is actually signed to me, period. I just want to promote fights,
I appreciate the spirit of what you're saying. Certainly, it's what we hope's happening throughout the state. I am a little curious. You keep referring to we in the past tense with her promoting activities, and we going forward also. I guess I'm curious, what was your role in her promoting prior to her license being suspended? And then what's her role with you if you were to become a promoter going forward?
Well, my role with her was I got the fighters. I helped train the fighters, and she was promoting the fights. Her role with me would be basically, just whatever I needed to do to help me out with my paperwork or whatever, her name. Tires and stuff like that, that is my wife, and that's about it. She would not be promoting, she might just help me out, to be honest. But she would.
I know we haven't had a hearing yet on the activities that she's accused of.
She really
But
wanted
they were pretty serious accusations. I think I believe it's falsifying blood test results, and I think our main mission is to ensure safety within the state. So obviously concerns about communicable diseases and things like that. So I'm still a little bit worried that if she would still be involved even with paperwork, if certainly one of those things would be making sure your fighters get blood tested and things like that.
She had a lab report thing where we actually had a count with the lab report. We were sending the money to the lab report for them to get their medicals. she never ever touched anyone medical papers or nothing. You know, she that was something that someone did. To be honest, a guy that's probably, you know, still messing up, but that was something someone did that we didn't even have any knowledge of. The only thing we knew was the medicals was getting sent. That's all we knew.
Do you have any idea who could have done that or how that was done?
But a guy supposed to, it was a trainer guy, he's supposed to wrote a letter or something. He told us he was going to write a letter, you know, out of Carolina. But
A letter to
to
what?
the commission, yes, sir.
Stating what?
Stating that he sent the medicals and whatever happened with the medical things. But we didn't know, we did not, I'm being honest, we did not know anything about any false blood or anything was getting sent to the commissioner for us to have bouts with those guys.
So what you're saying is that what happened as far as the false report happened at the lab?
Yes, sir. We didn't know anything about it.
So you're stating that somebody at the lab falsified the blood test?
No, I'm not. I can't blame the lab. Only thing I'm saying is the trainer guy who was getting the lab work did, who we sent money and stuff. That's the only thing we know. We don't know what they was doing with it. All we know was they was sending their blood. That's it. Like, if I throw a fight, I say, hey, you responsible for sending your own medicals. You know what I mean? If you want to be on the card.
Well, you realize as a promoter has to make sure all the I's are dotted and all the T's are crossed.
Sir.
And like you know, anything comes back, that's on the promoter.
Ooh.
So, you know, promoter has to make sure that everything's on the up and up to avoid things like this. You understand that?
Sir. But we was new to the promoting game also. And you know, like I say, we fully apologize for it. We didn't have any knowledge that was going on like that. I'm being honest. We did not have any knowledge whatsoever that was going on, me or my wife. I know somebody had to take the blame, and she was the promoter. So, yes, she had to take the blame. But we didn't know.
So answer this. Since this has happened, if you were to get your promoter's license, what would you do different now to ensure that didn't happen again?
I will make sure all medicals sent to me, all medicals is signed by a doctor and everything, and I will and when they get their medicals, I will have the lab fax the medicals to me, or fax them straight to the commissioner. Instead of them having it in their hand where they can falsifize it or whatever, I will make sure that it gets to me on my email from the doctors or from the doctors to the commission. I will make sure that, or they will not fight on the card. If they can't do that, they will not be allowed to fight on the card that I, you know, put on.
On your website, I think it was stated that it still shows your wife as a promoter and you as a trainer, or is that correct?
Yes, sir, but we don't even be on the website. We didn't even think about taking it down, to be honest, but we will take it down. It need to be taken down. I wouldn't even.
Has it been taken down from the website yet? I know there's a complaint opened at our last meeting in regards to that fact specifically.
We'll take it down. We don't. I'll be honest with you. I don't even know if it was still up there because I haven't been on anything with 46 level. You know, boxing promotion on the website or nothing. I don't even know when the last time I've been on that website. To be honest with you, or she, you know. But we haven't did anything with 4611 boxing promotions whatsoever since we've been suspended.
Now, was this your second show that your wife had put on, or the first, third, what?
But we found out after the first show was in Chattanooga, the second show was in Johnson City. I think it was going.
This was the third show where this happened.
So, 'cause we on two Chattanooga.
One in Chattanooga and in Johnson City. So you did the same thing, exactly the same thing as you did in the last show where the blood work was messed up. You did the same thing in the first two shows. You didn't do
I really
anything
don't
different.
know how she did, to be honest with you.
Okay.
I don't think so.
You,
I think she was having the labs in it, if I'm not mistaken.
okay. You weren't saying you weren't involved in that.
No, I was just only involved in the training and traveling and stuff like that.
Okay. And I'm not sure if you've already answered this question, but how is your wife going to be involved with if you were to get your license? I know you said she would help you with the paperwork or something else.
But there's really no paperwork to help me with now because the way I'm going to do it is nothing to do. You know, I'm going to make sure, like I said, that the doctor send it straight to the commissioner or they send it to me, you know. I guess she was just a great cheerleader.
But as a promoter, you know me, there are many different things you have to do, lots of different areas you have to cover to make sure everything is all right, from the boxers to the venue to ticket sales to everything.
I does all that. I does all that.
Okay. You did that for the last couple of bouts or that you had?
I helped do it.
You helped do
it. I was selling tickets and helping with the venue and everything, yes.
How long was the suspension?
It's still pending. I was going to bring that to the commission's attention. Ms. Kennemore agreed to the summary suspension and signed it on September 20th, 2021. So she is still currently suspended. The recommendation of the board was to proceed with revocation if she would not voluntarily revoke her license, which as of this date, she has not agreed to voluntarily revoke her license. I also want to point out, just for reference, Mr. Reddish brought it up at the last meeting, as of June 13th, 2022, Ms. Kennemore still appeared on the 411 Boxing's website. And of course now, Mr. Kennemore is proposing to operate K-South Promotions, so it will be operating a different company. The other thing I want to point out, without getting too much further into the separate matter with Ms. Kennemore, is that it is my understanding regarding the fraudulent tests that part of the problem was requested test had no evidence that a test had been performed. So we received documentation for blood work, but when we went to confirm whether that had happened based on the paperwork we received, the documents themselves looked like they had been altered. We then called to confirm a test was actually administered, and the person responded back that there was no test for certain individuals that Ms. Kennemore was overseeing as the promoter.
Don't have any questions. I just want to give my quick thoughts on this. That I believe the reason we didn't approve the license originally was that obviously there's serious allegations against your wife, and I'm sympathetic to the fact that this is how you make your living, and that you're running a company with your wife, and maybe you have different strong suits, one versus the other. But it sounds like from your own admission, she's more of like the paperwork person. That this was a paperwork problem that got her suspended, and it doesn't sound like you have any real plan to really change how anything's operating. And I think our original concern was that basically what happened is that your wife's license was suspended, and so your guys' workaround would be that you would get the promoter's license and things would continue on as normal. And I haven't heard a whole lot of evidence or statements strongly one way or another from you that makes me think that this isn't just an end run around your wife's license being suspended. So those are my thoughts. You can, if anyone else has any thoughts or questions, or if you want to address that further, I'll go ahead and mute and listen.
My wife, she is gonna come and try to get her license back. She most definitely is gonna come and try to get her license back because she feels that she's not gonna. She didn't do anything. Had to take the photo. Like physically, she did not do it. You know what I mean? To be honest with you, she did not do it. We wasn't in this for anything wrong to intentionally happen like that. And, you know, that's just something we did not have any knowledge of and we did not do. We did not. What's the paperwork? I can handle my own paperwork. I know how to, you know, fix my box wreck, send my box wrecks in and everything like that. I know how to handle the medicals, get people to send the medicals to me. You know, like I say, she really don't have to be involved in K-South boxing promotions for me to be a promoter. Like I said, she'll just be my cheerleader, you know, like a wife should be. She will not do anything whatsoever to deal with anything as far as my paperwork. But she is coming to, you know, try to get her license back. She definitely is going to do that because she didn't do anything to get them took, but
I got a question. Did you say that she had not tendered her license upon request?
Correct. She agreed to the summary suspension and was given an opportunity to voluntarily revoke her license, but she is not agreeing to that. So at this point, the only thing we can do is set a hearing for it to be determined whether we should revoke her license. It remains suspended until the time that we have the revocation hearing. And so now before you today is Mr. Kennemore's application for a promoter's license, while his wife's license remains suspended.
What's the timeline on having a hearing?
I don't know if we would be able to have it at the next meeting in December or not. I would need to coordinate with Request a Test and handle those issues that come with that, whether that be by affidavit or in-person testimony.
I know that this is about you. It's not about your wife.
Sure, I understand.
So we should just, you know, separate that about what she did as a promoter. But you can understand why we are concerned.
Yes, I do.
Because it is your wife.
Right, I understand.
But this is about your license, not about hers.
Yes, sir, I understand.
You know, so I mean, I appreciate your passion for the sport and wanting to do things right. But as you know, the promoter, that's the bottom line.
Yes, sir.
Anything goes wrong, it's on the promoter.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, and you have to, like I said, be sure that everything is on the up and up.
Yes.
You know, double check the paperwork, triple check it. Whatever caused that the last time can't happen again. If you were to get your license, you said you don't know how that happened or who could have done it. You know, because you basically you didn't have anything to do with it. You said that was your wife. You didn't have anything to do with that, but you know the mistakes that have been made.
Yes, sir, I do. Yes, I do.
And you know not to repeat those mistakes.
Most definitely.
Did you have anything else you'd like to say?
I appreciate y'all, you know, having me here to try to get my license. I really, really do want my license because I love the sport, and this is just this is my life. Like I said, I've been in it since I was 5 years old, and I'm just doing something that I know how to do.
Well, let me ask you this:
hmm
why did you not get your license, and your wife got the license? Why didn't you get it to begin with?
Because I was basically, be honest with you, trying to train those guys always on the move with the fighters, and I was trying to train the amateurs and the pros at the same time, and she was like, asked her basically, hey, you'll be a promoter, let's promote some fights. And she saw someone else at the fights promoting the fights. Another lady, she was like, I like that. I want to do that. I like that.
Are you still training boxers?
Yes, sir. I am.
So you think you can be a promoter and still train and do everything that you were doing before?
Yes, sir. I do.
But at a
Because
particular time, you didn't think you could do that. That's why she was a promoter.
I well, it's a difference now because I know what I have to do as a promoter, what I have to do right, and I really got my guys to help train the guys, but I got my guys be training in Vegas a lot with a coach out there at Mayweather Boxing Gym. They train out there a lot. If they here in Chattanooga, I go to the gym with them and train them a little bit. But I know really the only time I got to promote is when I'm putting a fight in, and it don't take me long as I can get my fights messed up and all the paperwork will be in and that'll be over, and then we can get ready for camp. But I don't actually just right now. I helps train them, but they be in Vegas a lot training with other trainers majority of the time.
So I was wondering if you could clarify. So you would be a trainer and a promoter at the same time?
Yes, ma'am. I will be a co-trainer. I will be the second, really basically cut man of the second.
Have any family members in professional boxing now?
Not anymore. No. Not well. Not in. No, I don't. I had a lot of them in the amateur boxing, but I don't have any family members in the boxing yet. But I got trainers that good trainers that could train and do the whole. Now I just help work their corners a lot. To be honest, I don't really go to the gym every day with them. Or anything like that. If they want me to help work the mitts with them, I go help work the mitts with them or something. 5 days a week.
But what kind of license do you hold right now in the state of Tennessee?
No, I don't have any license in the state of Tennessee whatsoever.
Is this your primary way that you make a living?
Yes, ma'am.
So you are you on salary, or you take a percentage as a trainer of their purses?
A percentage of the purses. If I get them big fights, I'll get a percentage of the purses, like 5%. Sometimes I might not even take anything, depending on who fighting.
Can you tell us what is required to be a promoter?
Sir, what's required to be a promoter is making sure all your paperwork right, making sure you got your venue, you pay your fees to be a promoter, get your fights matched up at the weigh-ins, make sure all your paperwork straight and everything, and everything is over with and you get it in, get your ring there and everything. Once everything lights on, and pay everybody you're supposed to pay, and tell everybody have a good night and you appreciate them.
Are you aware of what the fee is for a promoter?
I can't remember exactly what it. I can't remember. I had a money order at home, but they sent it back. Well, different fees. License.
Okay. Have you worked any corners or anything in the pro game, or
Yes. I worked Avis the Underdog Griffin corner. I worked Joseph Too Fast Francisco corner. I worked Justin Bolton corner. I worked corners of a lot of fighters. I worked corners in Mexico, California, everywhere.
do you hold a license anywhere in the United States as far as training boxers or working corners or anything?
But you got to do the corner help out. That's what they'll my slip out, and they'll approve you. You get to work the corner. You pay the fee. To be a corner man, yes sir.
Anybody have any other questions?
I think I'm hearing from everybody that the hard line is sort of that if his wife has a suspended license, we don't want her, like if he gets busy with the coaching or whatever else, she can't step in. And we sort of, I think what we've been looking for is for you to say that in your own words.
Not going to
You can
typo
make that.
whatsoever with my boxing promotion. She will come and argue, plead her case to get her promotion license back. When she plead her case to get her promotion license back, then that when she started working on her promotion. But for us, case out promotions, she will not do any type of paperwork or anything whatsoever with my promotion. I will do everything.
And I think if we approve you and your wife's suspended, if she does do work with you, then that's grounds for suspension of your license.
Oh, definitely, yes, sir.
And then you could both be revoked. Now, obviously, if we give her a license back at her hearing, then she can work with you as much as she wants. But until that happens, she would have to be totally separate.
I understand. I really do.
I've got a question for you again over here. It's been my observation at the fights that when someone comes in and they buy their or pay for their cornerman card,
Are you referring to a second, a
Yeah,
license for a
second
second?
card.
That exists, yes.
is that card that they get just for that fight, or is it a seasonal kind of a thing?
Our licenses are 2 years, so the second, the license to be a second in a fight would be for 2 years.
Okay.
And the promoter lets us know who their seconds are. So you could have this 2-year license and be on multiple promoters.
And that was my question to you, sir. Do you have in the state of Tennessee a card
Yes, sir. I
to
do.
be the second?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes,
Okay.
sir.
I hadn't heard you say
Oh,
anything
yes, sir.
about it.
Yeah. Yes, sir. I do. I do have a license, a card to be a second in the corner. Yes, sir. I do. I'm sorry. I do.
I had a question, a point of clarification on page 2. Mr. Kenmore answered no to do you have any financial or familiar conflict of interest with any professional combatants? What are the parameters on conflict of interest in this case? In the state of Tennessee, do we permit a promoter to also be an active trainer or a second?
I would have to look into that in the statute and the rules. I have the responsibilities of a promoter. But I would have to look to see what extent they could act in multiple capacities.
As you know, as far as the license for the second, really other than the driver's license and a picture, there's nothing else that's needed for the second. But the promoter license is a lot more financially and obviously comes with all the responsibilities.
who makes the fights for your boxers?
I hire a matchmaker or something like that.
So if you got your promoter's license, then who would make the matches at that point?
I hire a matchmaker.
Who would approve those matches?
The commission.
Who would decide whether your fighter fought on the card?
The trainer.
Need like a motion to approve the license or something along those lines.
Yes, after the discussion is complete, we would need a motion and a second whether to approve or deny the application for licensure.
I have one other point I'd like clarification on, please. Back in the mid-'80s, going back, I started to promote kickboxing in this state. And I had to come up with a $50,000 bond in order to do so. As a promoter in this state for boxing or any of the pugilistic styles, is that still part of our requirement?
Yes, for the promoter, he has submitted with his application the bond required.
So you need a motion at this time whether to accept or deny the application?
Yes.
Or any other condition that the commission sees fit. Right now, the application's on hold.
Now, if you were to get your, you were to approve your promoter's license, what's the first thing you're going to do? You're going to try to put on a show or what?
Shows is that shows. I'm trying to bring the light game. I always wanted to do, just sometimes they don't get the recognition that they supposed to get. That's why I take a lot of them out there to Vegas, get them trained, let them get saw, send them out there. I send them out there. And I just want to put good shows on, to be honest. I just want to put some good fights on in the state of Tennessee. That's all I want to do. I just want to be in the boxing world, just put good fights on and be a top promoter. I want to be one of the toppest promoters, to be honest. I want to be a good promoter.
Well, like I had stated before, the promoter, that's the bottom line.
Yes, I want to
be
be
the promoter is responsible. Anything that goes wrong with that show, as you're well aware of. Like I said, I appreciate your passion for the sport, and I hope that you've learned something from your wife's troubles. I think you hopefully have.
Yes, sir.
But that's a whole different
right.
Thing we're going to deal with. But with that, I'd like to make a motion that we approve Mr. Kenmore's application for a promoter.
If your wife's license is reinstated, what would be your plans as far as promoting going forward?
under a different company.
All right, so you'd have two companies in your household, basically?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. You know, she's still gonna if she come and get her license back, she'll still promote. You know, under 4611, I'm still gonna promote. She might want to throw a show in Chattanooga. I might want to put one in Nashville. You know.
So just for clarification, and I know there's the motion outstanding there, at the time Miss Kennemore's license was suspended, Mr. Kennemore was operating 4611 Promotions. Is that the correct name? Okay. And now with his current application, he is proposing to operate K-South Promotions. Based on Mr. McGrew's question, I do have one question for Mr. Kennemore. Are you currently operating events out of K-South Promotions? Have you had any events?
And I help out in the boxing world. I put them on Billy Card. I put them on other guys.
Are you a licensed promoter in Georgia?
So
How long ago did that happen?
I put them in about the same. I just love my. I wanted to. I want to promote. I want to put. I want to put a show on at the UTC arena. To be honest with you, that's my goal, to put a world championship fight at the UTC McKissick Arena. That's my goal. I always wanted to do that, and you know, I get my license. That's my goal. National championship fight at the. Forced me by being out there with all the top fighters. You know, I know them. I know their promoters. I know their trainers, their managers, and everything.
What has your wife been doing while her license is suspended?
Yeah, she went back to work. She went back to work. She worked at Warehouse Road.
Everyone's done with questions, then I'll second the motion to approve the license.
Thank you. I want to make sure to reiterate, we have a motion by Dan McGrew, and this motion is to approve the currently pending application for promoter's license for Mr. Kennemore, and it would be under a different company name. And now we have a second for Ben Grove to also approve as previously stated. I am going to go ahead and do roll call vote to make sure that we have everyone on the record and know how to proceed. Ben Grove?
Aye.
Thank you. Matt Reddish?
Nay.
Christy Halbert?
Okay.
Patrick Wren?
Aye.
And Dan McGrew?
Aye.
Okay, so we have 3 noes. The motion has failed. I welcome any other questions or other motions that the commission has.
Really like the passion that you've come and talked with. As I said before, I'm very sympathetic, but it's how you make your living. But personally, I'm the public member, so I don't have necessarily the experience that the other people do with professional fighting events. I think what sticks in my conscience is the idea that what your wife's accused of, falsifying those reports. If someone had gotten HIV or something like that because they didn't know, and I just think about what would happen again. And if I were on record approving it, I know we've gone over this pretty in depth, and you're kind of saying the right things at this point about your wife not being involved. And I think if you'd said that when you came in, my vote probably would have been different. And it does, I think, I wish I hadn't been the second vote on this. I wish I could have been the fifth one or the fourth one. But I think the fact that Georgia's licensed you does influence me a little bit. But I just want to say that I think, like you personally, I like your passion, and I'd be ready to go watch an event from the way you talk about it in Chattanooga. I just can't bring myself to overlook what your wife is accused of, and my personal feeling that it just feels like this is kind of an end run for you guys to keep operating status quo. So I just want to, express that to you. I know Mr. McGrew said he feels more like separating you from your wife, but it's just hard for me to do that personally. So I just want to say that to you. That I appreciate everything you do, wanting to bring business to the state. Certainly, we all want more and bigger events to happen in the state. I'm just not quite ready at this point to vote yes on it.
Yeah, thank you for being here, and I hope you'll get some affairs in order. We look forward to hearing from your wife, and then maybe apply again in the future.
Thank you. Absolutely. Thank you, Commission members. We will proceed with our agenda, and next on your iPads is the Director's Report. That starts on page 14. The budget is laid out. These expenses are as of August and include one of the entries for fiscal year 2021-2022. The Commission, to no surprise to anyone, we did end the year in a negative. Our reserve total and fiscal year closure right now is at a deficit of $39,307. All things considering, this year we've had those middle to small size fights, which of course we just don't make any money on. So we're keeping a close eye as far as investigator expenses, even our own internal expenses, just anything we can think of to do to keep those down. But I just wanted to make sure everybody kind of saw those numbers. Any questions regarding anything on the financials? For our next meeting, we will have the full closing number for the 2022 and some of our expenses already in numbers for the first few fights for the month of July and August. So next on your iPads is the legal report, and that starts on page 16. I'll turn it over to our attorney, Ms. Pam Spicer.
I'll have the legal report before you. To note, there are 5 complaints. I do want to bring your attention to number 5 particularly. It is a represent from the last meeting. I was asked to obtain some additional information. Given the circumstance and the appearance that tickets were sold and winners were announced, I believe it is appropriate to issue a letter of instruction, which is not formal discipline, regarding this complaint, and include on the letter of instruction a CC to USA Boxing, so that they are aware that this particular complaint exists, and we have notified them to kind of be careful about the types of events they hold, and that the rules for USA Boxing may be different than our rules. As far as the other 4 complaints, those are new complaints that the department has received. I'm happy to answer any questions.
You take action on these independently or as a group?
You can vote as a whole. You do not have to vote on each one. I do want to also note that number 2 is the license that is currently suspended and proceeding to formal hearing regarding the website display of a continuing image as a promoter. But we do not have to go over them individually. If you do not have any questions, I'll read the numbers into the record, the complaint numbers with the recommendation, and then there would be a motion and roll call. I mean, not a roll call vote, a motion and a second to approve.
Complaint number one, was it the promoter that submitted the result as a TKO loss?
I'm assuming that. I do not have that right here before me.
No,
but
previously,
it
I
would
mean, the
be-
commission
right,
didn't submit results.
Right.
Is that
And-
still
and
the case?
Right. It would be submitted and then approved by the commission.
Is TKO loss consistent with our rules?
Yes, I reviewed the rules concerning this particular complaint and unintentional files and the way it would be scored. And it would be consistent within the kickboxing and boxing rules.
Motion to accept the report.
Thank you. We have a motion to accept the report with all 5 cases as recommended by legal. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Ben. All those in favor to accept all 5 cases as recommended by legal counsel, can please say yes.
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 Thank you. Any opposed? Okay. Legal report stays as presented. Next, we have any new business, and I don't have any at this time. If the commission has any questions or anything they'd like to address, by all means, feel free.
I just ask that we get that hearing scheduled for Kennemore as soon as possible. We my only comment.
My plan can be to, as you all are aware, to file the notice of hearing and charges. And again, there just may be some delay with the way that the proof would need to come in as far as scheduling the actual hearing. But I can get the notice of hearing and charges filed with the Administrative Procedures Division, and then we can kind of take it from there. At least if it's filed, we can either anticipate the December meeting or the first meeting in.
Commission has nothing else. It is 2:55. I want to thank everybody for being here today. We will adjourn. Do we have a motion?
I'm sorry, I have one
Oh,
question.
yes,
quick.
please.
As far as revenue goes, because I know we're in the red, I hadn't been here in a while. And did we ever circle back to the bare knuckle boxing request in their application?
I have not heard from anyone on behalf of bare knuckle boxing, so that's been tabled indefinitely, is my understanding. That would be mainly because I haven't heard from anyone regarding that.
Okay. Yeah, I just know they bring in a lot of revenue for like Mississippi and Kentucky at this point, so it'd be a good event when we can boxing promotion.
So I'm curious for the people more involved with boxing is, I know that, the state of Tennessee gives us purview to regulate MMA and boxing as kind of 2 separate sports, and then kickboxing as a third. Do you consider bare knuckle boxing to be like an independent sport, or is it boxing where we don't enforce glove requirements? Because I think we have rules we'd have to change as far as glove requirements that I actually drafted myself several years ago. So I guess I'd just be curious, but I know we have at least 2 people pretty involved in boxing. What's your thoughts on it are?
Seems to be a version of boxing, but I think we'd have to look at a rules package from them and get a formal presentation from that organizing body to know what other rules might be impacted by not wearing gloves. I know they wear tape to protect their hands, just nothing on the knuckles.
I guess I'm curious if we can even allow it without a statutory change. I don't know if legal can look into that and let us know. I mean, I agree. I've seen a lot about it. I know it's bringing in revenue we could certainly use. I mean, I think from what I remember, I'm not even sure we could do it without the state passing some kind of legislation. But I'd be curious to hear. It's certainly been a long time since I looked through. But I mean, we could, if it were allowed, I think maybe next meeting we could discuss potentially reaching back out to them and asking for something like that for them to provide it if they wanted to participate here.
And we had asked previously for someone from their establishment to review their rules, put sort of a proposal together, and we did not receive that information. But at a minimum, as you spoke, it would require a rule change. I'm not going to go on record today about whether there would need to be a statutory change or not, but it would definitely require a rule change, and maybe specific rules for bare knuckle boxing. Just because of the way our boxing rules are worded, I'm not even sure it could merge into the boxing rules.
That's kind of how I remembered
Right.
it. It'd be hard. It'd be difficult for us to even say that's under our purview.
How hard would it be to see what the other states are doing and like how they got it approved, whether they went through legislation or if they did it just with rule changes?
That is one thing that we had asked of the individual looking to do to perform bare knuckle boxing in Tennessee, and that has not been received. It's my understanding. I obviously don't want to be quoted on this, but it is my understanding there are not a lot of states that do bare knuckle boxing, but I could be wrong about that. But that was just some initial research that I had done, and then we decided that it would be better for someone with experience in bare knuckle boxing to come before us and make a presentation on what are other states doing, how many other states do it, what are their rules, how do their rules compare to our rules, do we need to consider a legislative change? So there's a lot that would go into this to bring bare knuckle boxing into this state, and we at the time decided to put the onus on the individuals that are interested in bringing bare knuckle boxing to this state.
That's fair.
Any other questions, comments, commission members, while we've got you?
Make a motion to adjourn.
We have a second?
I second.
Thank you. We have a motion, a second. I know all are in agreement to adjourn, and we're right at 3 o'clock. Thank you to everyone. Our meeting has concluded.